I'm not gonna waste your time. We all know you're here for the Argylle review, and I'm gonna give you the Argylle review. Should you see this movie? Well, let's find out. This movie stars Bryce Dallas Howard, Henry Cavill, John Cena, Sam Rockwell, and many others in this fantastical spy adventures. If you've seen any of the trailers, you would know that Bryce Dallas Howard's character is writing spy novels, and then those spy novels end up happening in real life somehow, or the events of these spy novels end up happening in real life. It follows that premise, and then there's lots of twists and turns that go around that, and it's a fun time. I haven't seen Bryce Dallas Howard act in a little bit. I know her best from Spider-Man 3, but that's because Spider-Man 3 is my favorite movie of all time. And for the most part, I think she did a good job in this movie. But I hate to say this, action scenes that involved Bryce Dallas Howard's character directly weren't very convincing. There was one ice skating-esque action scene with her that I thought actually worked pretty well. But other than that, I don't know what was going on. It felt like people were just kind of letting her hit them.
3. Wrong way.
I didn't feel that visceral connection that I crave in an action movie whenever she was the one throwing down. And that's unfortunate because otherwise I thought she did a good job in the movie. Love seeing Henry Cavill on screen, even if he has a stupid haircut, but honestly, it was just fun seeing him back. I miss him as Superman. Sam Rockwell plays the more seasoned actual espionage spy in this movie, and I think that he does a pretty good job as well. He's charismatic and charming. He strangely enough gave me Owen Wilson vibes, to the point that I actually thought he was Owen Wilson, and then about halfway through the movie, I realized, oh, that's someone else. So that's kind of the vibe he gives, Owen Wilson spy. Now, before I go any further into this review, I'm not familiar with Matthew Vaughn. I haven't seen any of his movies. I'm not familiar with Kingsman. Hey, everybody, quick note from the editor's chair. I actually have seen a couple of Matthew Vaughn films, mainly Kick-Ass and X-Men First Class, which, if you watched my podcast, would know that it's actually my second favorite Marvel movie of all time. So maybe I am part of the Vaughndom after all. But if this movie is anything to go off of, I suggest that Matthew Vaughn has a very stylish, fun, frantic style. Lots of long take action scenes where the camera swoops around and jumps all over into these spy settings, jumping all over the world. That's what this movie is. It's just a fun time with plenty of twists and turns and plot points going from here to there and then reveals. And if that is all you care about, stylish action, fun time at the movies, just going to be bedazzled, I think this movie does a serviceable job. However, if you're a hater like me, you might take some issues with this movie, mainly the plot. There are so many twists and turns throughout this entire movie, I almost get numb to it at some point. There were so many fake out twists and turns, and it was pulling you left and right, and you're like, what's going on? There's so many twists in this movie, so many like little things that happen that, to their credit, are set up. But then I start thinking about these twists and all of the implications of why certain characters would act certain ways, and it just starts confusing me. And so then during the movie, I start thinking back to these other twists, like, wait, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Because they reveal it earlier in the movie. It feels more like at the end of the second act, you get that reveal, and then the third act, it just goes on forever and ever with more twists being added, but the big main reveal blew its load just a little bit too early for me. And because of that, the last act just felt so long, just new thing after new thing after new thing happened with some new twists and some new crazy shenanigans going on. And it's just felt like it would never end. I was checking my watch like, is the movie gonna be over soon? The first 2 acts was totally on board. By the time I got to the third act though, I was just off the bandwagon. It lost me because it got so convoluted that I was just like, I need to stop thinking about this and just try to enjoy the ride. And like I said, that is where this movie is best enjoyed. Also, there's an action scene towards the end of the movie where there's all these colored clouds kind of going through the place while people are shooting guns, and it's kind of like a dance scene of sorts, and I was cringed out of my mind. I guess one other thing I should probably mention is that Bryan Cranston is also in this movie as the main villain, and while I liked him, I just couldn't help but feel like he was underused. I'm not saying I was expecting Walter White from Breaking Bad, but I just never really felt intimidated or threatened by him, like, ever. I mean, he was funny sometimes. I'll give him that. He had some funny lines, but intimidating, Nah, dog, he ain't that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Argylle. It was a good time, but not a great time. A very mixed time. But hey, I would love to hear what you guys think about it down in the comments below, and let me know, what is your favorite spy-centric movie? I'm always curious to hear your thoughts and opinions. And what's that? You haven't subscribed? You haven't subscribed to Budster Brown, the premier #1 movie reviewing channel of all time? What are you guys doing? Hit that subscribe button for me, please. It really helps out the channel. I'd like to be able to do this as a job one day, but for now, I'm just having a good time. And with that, I will see you later.